Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to another Monster Hunter Cross video. The game is just a day away now, it is so close I can taste it, and of course that means lots of awesome videos will be coming your way very, very soon. But as a means to tide you over until launch, I am back with another video from the demo. In this video, I thought I'd show off all the available Hunter arts in the demo and briefly explain what they do. When using Striker style, each of the 14 weapons have access to 2 weapon-specific arts, and a third general art that can be used by all weapons. Of course, once the game is out, I plan on doing videos on all arts on a per weapon basis, but for the time being, let's start with these. If you guys do enjoy this video, then a like would be super appreciated, and comment down below and tell me which arts you like the most. Now, kicking things off with the Greatsword. First up, you have Lion's Maw. This is a technique where you store energy in yourself and your blade so that your next attack does more damage. It is worth noting, however, this applies to your next attack irrespective of whether it hits or not. So if you're all charged up, just make sure you don't miss. The second move is Brimstone Slash. This unleashes stored energy for a really powerful slash, and what's more, during this stance you won't be knocked over, so provided your positioning is correct, then you're pretty safe to use this. Next up we have the Longsword. Your first hunting art is the Spirit Release Full Moon Slash. This move, once activated, will not only max out your spirit gauge, but it will also keep it at max for a short period of time, allowing you to spam your spirit combo infinitely without fear of the bar depleting. So as I'm sure you can imagine, this is perfect for getting that red gauge. The second art, Mirror Flower Stance, is a counter move. You assume the Mirror Flower Stance, and if you're hit, you will then parry and follow up with a strong counter attack. After that, we then have the Sword and Shield, and your first art is Round Force. This is a wide spinning slash that attacks in a 360-degree circle, whilst also making you briefly invulnerable during the attack animation. So this is, as I often like to call it, an offensive evade. And the second art is Shoryugeki, which is Rising Dragon Strike. This begins with a forward slice attack and ends with a rising uppercut. And if timed correctly, you might even knock the monster out of the air. Moving over to Dual Blades, your first move is Bloody Wind Top. This is a forward advancing combo that slices in circles, and you can steer the direction of the combo twice after activation, which means should the monster move, you can redirect it towards them. On top of that, you also have Soaring Heaven Splitter. This is a hunter art that requires the use of a ledge. You run towards it, launch yourself in the air with a spinning slice, and you slam down with a second devastating blow. This works both up and down ledges. Next up, Hammer. The first art, Provoke, is a taunt that will provoke the monster into attacking you more so than your surrounding teammates, which is great if you're trying to lure it into a trap. The second art, Spinning Meteor, will see your hunter spin the hammer around with tremendous force, ending the flurry with a powerful supercharged attack. It is worth noting, despite how the trailer made this art seem, this is not a guaranteed KO. Moving over to Hunting Horn. The first art for the Hunting Horn is the Sound Attack Tremor. This sees the hunter play the horn with a pressurized shockwave, which results in a very powerful attack. The full orchestra, on the other hand, will allow you, for a limited period of time, to play double notes without hitting a monster. For those of you guys that don't know, one of the changes in Monster Hunter Cross designed to encourage more offensive hunting horn play is that normally hitting a monster will yield double notes, whereas playing the notes away from combat will only be single. So this art, as you can see, circumvents that. Moving on to Lance. The first art, Shield Assault, will have your hunter raise their shield and run forward whilst blocking. This charge is then concluded with a follow-up thrust. The second art, Enraged God, is another counter-like move. You raise your shield for a brief period of time, and if you're attacked during this time, your lance will then absorb power, and your attacks will deal more damage for a short period of time. However, it is also worth noting, the more powerful the attack that you block, the more powerful the charge on your lance. Next up, Gunlocks. The first move, Supreme Mountain Wyvern's Fire, unleashes a giant flaming Wyvern Fire attack, dealing damage to anything caught in a blast. The second art, on the other hand, Wyvern's Breath, will raise the internal heat of the gun lance, locking the gauge in its maximum position for a period of time, allowing you to take advantage of this and dish out some additional damage. Next up we have the Switch Axe. The first art that I want to talk about is actually the second one on the list, Demon Sword Mode. This enhances the power of your sword mode, providing you with greater attack power, and what's more, it lasts until you need to reload, which is a pretty substantial time for such a powerful weapon. The second art is called Translash, and this is a pretty lengthy combo that goes between both axe and sword mode and finishes up with a powerful elemental discharge. However, if you have the first art active, Demon Sword Mode, and you then do a Translash, you'll get a slightly different finisher, which goes to show that some of the arts do have some pretty nice synergy. Now moving over to Charge Blade, the first art I want to talk about is Over Limit. This temporarily increases the maximum number of files you can charge up. By default, a charge blade has 5, but using this gives you 7, and I believe the level 3 in the final game will give you 10. And if you're a charge blade user, as I'm sure you can imagine, an ultra with 10 files would certainly be a sight to behold. However, on top of that, talking about art synergy again, the second art, Energy Blade, uses the files in your charge blade to create a blade of energy that'll strike the monster. More files, more power. So of course if you use over limit first, fill those files, then use the Energy Blade, you're going to be doing much more damage. Then moving over to the Insect Glaive. The first art is called Insect Clad. This attracts insects that stay around you for a short period of time, and they attack anything within close proximity. And what's more, if you're also mounting a monster, then they deal additional damage while you're riding it. The second art, on the other hand, is pretty neat. Extract Hunter will send out or throw out your Kinsect, and if it hits the monster, it'll gather all 3 extracts in one shot, in turn giving you the triple buff upon returning. It does require that you aim it properly though, so make sure you make it count, because if you miss, again it's a wasted opportunity. Now moving over to the ranged weapons. First up you have the Light Bowgun and the art Bullet Geyser. This will propel you backwards whilst also leaving an explosive shot on the ground, which will explode after a short period of time. However, given the internal back hop, this is also pretty handy as a last minute evade. Alternatively, you have the Rapid Heaven, which allows you to rapid fire your rapid shots in fast succession until you run out. Then moving over to the Heavy Bowgun, you have the Supernova Hunting Art, which is a special shot that results in a massive mid-air explosion that affects a wide area and damages anything caught in the blast. Alternatively, you have Load Gunpowder, which loads a special coating that increases the power of your shots, and if you look at the top of the screen, it tells you how many shots you have left with this effect. And finally, wrapping things up with the bow, you have Acceleration Rain, which is a special shower shot that gives you increased movement speed and charging speed. Alternatively, you have Blade Wire, where you tie 2 arrows together and shoot them as a single shot, which creates a blade in the air. And if you look at the UI, you can see where it would normally list your ammo, instead it says blade. And what's cool is this can also be used to cut off tails, which is pretty handy. And then last, but by no means least, the general non-weapon specific skill is Absolute Evasion. You dive through the air, dodging an attack and retreating from battle. This particular version will also sheath your weapon, so it should be used to get out of combat and not back in. And that's it. Sorry it was a little bit long, but that's a look at all the hunting arts in the Monster Hunter Cross demo. Once I get my hands on the full game and I unlock all the skills, I will be doing videos on a weapon by weapon basis. But for the time being, hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, then a like would be mega awesome, and thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.